Hi, I'm Ian Riñon, an independent alternative media practitioner, among other things. And normally I say that on my own YouTube channel, but not. But I'm not on my own channel. I am here in Paper Straw Media, and I am one of the co-hosts of the PSM podcast. So welcome back, and I'm here with my co-hosts Christian Tejares and
Hey,
Chris Short. So guys, how's my intro?
Good, man.
I give that a 9.2.
Nice.
Wow, far too kind, guys. Anyway, so uh what we're doing now on this episode this week for, is our top fives. We
So I figured we each give our top fives, like number five for each of us. Then we discuss why. If there's an overlap, we just do it all at the same time. The ones who have overlap on why they chose it.
I think that's a
Okay.
good idea. So um I
So what
would
would be
rather
our
go and yeah.
topic for today, Ian? What would be our
Okay,
top five?
so for top 5 for this week, we're gonna go and list our top 5 historical films
Hmm.
and maybe some honorable mentions. But uh, I personally wanted to do this because I really consume mostly historical films. I do watch some other movies on Netflix, but that's just to make me entertained and all that. But I'm a connoisseur. I can say that I'm a connoisseur for historical films, but I don't know about you guys.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would say as someone who enjoys a good story, whether it be historically accurate or complete fantasy or even not, I'm big on documentaries, so yeah, I love a good movie, really any
So,
genre, but
so in
historical
terms of
movies,
accuracy, for the historical film, it just has to be an adaptation, right? It doesn't have to be a documentary type of film.
Well, it can be both.
okay.
Whatever whatever piques your interest. Ac- I actually have to give a huge shout out to Nick Hodges of History Buffs, the YouTube channel
Yeah.
History Buffs, because uh I certainly was inspired on doing this list, my personal list, because of him, because you know he's a big history buff and all that shit, and I've been watching some of his reviews about some of the historical films, and I still have to sort out the top 4 and 5. I already have the top 3, but I can go last. So you know start off. Either one of you would can start off with their top fives.
Mm.
So you can go first, Christian.
Top five
With
historical films. I guess my number five would be Titanic.
ooh, okay.
Oh,
It's
that's
such
nice.
an easy choice because living in the Philippines, I think Titanic was playing in the movie theaters here for a year. I think more than a year.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't. I was still I was not yet in elementary school back then, and I understand that Titanic is somehow impactful in our society. But yeah,
Yeah.
it's
it's
good
it's
to
not
know
even
that.
it's not even about the
Yeah.
historical part. Like usually it's just a date movie. Like I watched it back when I was in high school. Like you know the reason why guys actually watched it. It's because they're bringing their dates.
Yeah, you get 3 hours. You get 3 hours in the dark with your girlfriend.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Yeah. Yeah.
And besides,
and
if you're a history buff, you might as well watch A Night to Remember, the 1950s film, also about the Titanic.
Okay.
Yeah,
and I guess that's the first
but
James Cameron movie that I actually didn't watch all the way through and had to wait for the home version to actually watch it because I had
yeah,
to walk out of the theater because everything back when it was actually shown in theaters here in the Philippines, everything was standing room. You can't actually sit in theaters back then because every movie theater was actually crowded.
Oh dear God.
So my first
That's kind of
viewing with it was it with a date and a couple of friends. And halfway through, I had to leave because I just can't take it anymore.
dude,
It's just too crowded.
So I left my date and I left my friends and I just went home and waited for the home release.
that's insane. I have never even imagined going to a movie theater and it be so crowded that people are standing.
Yeah, there are two films I think here in the Philippines that actually had that. It was Titanic and it was Spider-Man.
So they were still selling tickets even though
Yeah, they were
the
still selling
capacity was
tickets because if they don't sell tickets, the line would just be too long. It would fill the entire mall.
well, I mean, that's why people in the US camp out like 2 days before tickets go on sale.
Yeah, and
It's not just
ima-
yeah.
Yeah, but I
imagine
mean,
the,
but
the
there's
the
but
joys of actually having reserved seating now. It wasn't actually available back then,
that's insane. That's fucking crazy. I
right?
think
We
that's
take these things
probably
for granted, and it was
that's
just 2 decades ago,
honestly, I'm
Actually
sure
three, not almost three.
almost 3 decades
Not
ago,
almost three.
yeah.
Yeah.
right? We take
I
these
think
things for
that
granted.
I think that probably violates a number of fire code regulations.
Back in the 90s, we don't even know what the
Oh
fire
man.
code is.
Oh
Yeah, but
boy,
it
that
was
shit
actually
crazy.
memorable for me because I can't actually argue the film was actually beautiful
Yeah, it was
when you
very,
first
very
came
well
out,
done.
right? It was pretty groundbreaking. So
Yeah.
apart from I
Not to mention
already
it
know,
was
like nothing is gonna be spoiled to me regarding that film. Like I already know the ending.
yeah,
I just enjoy the
yeah. But
spectacle
all
of
right,
the
we're gonna
film.
go let's go
For you,
let's
Chris,
go
what's
five
your
five
number five?
five.
Yeah,
Yeah,
what's number
sure.
five for you?
Um my number five has got to be because I love like slow burns. Um and I love it when it gives you kind of an insight much further than what a textbook can give you, right?
Yeah.
Um, so my number five has to be the King's Speech.
Hmm.
Oh yeah, the
Good
King's
choice,
Speech.
Yeah.
Colin Firth.
So basically what happened, I think it was King George
The sixth. George the Sixth.
this King George the Sixth, right? Yeah. He had a stuttering problem.
Yeah, it's good at
And
stuttering, not Tourette's.
yeah. But yeah, that's the one. And I think it came out in the mid 2010s, maybe 2010.
Yeah, mid 2010s. I also watched that too.
Yeah. It was one of those movies. I don't remember what else was playing at the time. But it's like the reason I watched it was because I went to the movies to watch a movie with no particular plan. You know what I mean? It's like I do this.
Yeah,
I used to do this a lot. It's how I seen the greatest show on earth. I'm not a big fan of musicals, but I watched that one because I was like I was like, I'm gonna go watch a movie. I go to the cinema and it's like, okay, these are my options. Let's watch this one. So that's what happens a lot. And that's what happened when I watched The King's Speech. It was pretty good. I liked it. Like I said, it's
Right.
for me. It's always much more interesting when there's a like even the Titanic, right? There's a tinge of real life there. Like this shit really happened. The boat really sank. You know what I'm saying? This king really had a speech problem.
Mhm.
Yeah. So, but that's my number five.
And yeah, before I go with my own number five, I just wanted to say that since we mentioned Titanic and all that shit, no Stockton Rush would spoil the the fascination people have about the Titanic. So that's just
yeah.
my take on it. And given that all of your top five, I guess my top five also reflects the same theme that it happened. And my top five is Apollo 13. The one with Tom
Ooh,
Hanks as Jim Lovell.
that's
Yeah.
That's a
that's
good
my
one.
top. That's my top three. So we
It
can
didn't make my
discuss it
list.
now.
It didn't make my list.
Oh,
That's my
yeah,
top
but
three.
maybe I'll give you an time to
Yeah.
explain your take on that, Christian. But for starters, you know, what's fascinating about this movie is that Jim Lovell himself made a cameo on the on
Hmm.
the
Yeah.
on the ending scenes of that film. He researched the the commanding officer of the ship that recovered the Apollo 13 capsule, and he
Well,
really wanted he really wanted to you know um play a part wherein he not only did a cameo, but did a cameo of a real life military person, because I understand that he was also in the U.S. Navy, right?
yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And I
and
feel the film actually resonates with me. Because I think that's one of the rare movies that Tom Hanks actually plays a serious role. And I guess for me, that was the
yeah.
first time I've actually didn't see him in a romantic comedy,
Okay.
more of a
and I
there's a
guess the
tinge of
other one
emotion.
is and I guess
That's
the other
sweet.
one is Sully, right?
Yeah, but that's way down the line.
Yeah.
Yeah, but uh, Apollo
I mean, his
13,
first movie wasn't big. That was not serious at all.
Forrest Gump.
Yeah.
Dude, I just watched Forrest Gump again the other night, and I'm not too proud to say this. I think literal tears fell out of my eyes maybe 4 times.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Anyway, uh, as for Apollo 13, I don't know if I already mentioned this in our previous episodes, or maybe I've already told you this off camera or off the record. But not really a huge, but I'm a relatively huge space nerd,
Okay.
and
Nice.
all of these space exploration stuff, especially the Polaris Dawn mission that recently ended a few days ago, if I'm not mistaken, with Jared Isaacman on command. Um, yeah, that fascinates me. That that move to that exploratory mood by the people who go to space, and it just so happens that um in 1970, uh disaster almost struck the human moon landing program, and it's really good to it's a really good story. It's a feel good story, but it has it has it's it's as faithful as it can be
Hmm.
in during the during the whole ordeal. And the one liners, the absolute one liners are what made Apollo 13 um I, is the reason why Apollo 13 is in my list. That's what I wanted to say. So let's go with top 4, Christian.
Top four. Yeah. Nice. Good top five, fellas. Wow.
Hmm. I had a lot of choices for my top four, but I guess I think my fourth one would be The Big Short.
You know, I've never seen that.
You haven't?
Yeah, so do I.
Didn't you live through it?
I am the Big Short, honestly. Per, per,
I mean, your
persona.
name is short.
Yeah, yeah,
Right?
yeah. And
Quite
yeah,
literally.
yeah. I'm like 6'2", so yeah,
But
six
all
two,
kidding
about
aside, like
200 pounds.
this was big for me because this was my first exposure. I guess I was interested in economics back then, but this was the first time I've seen it actually documented in film from an actual event that occurred.
Okay,
Like us here in the side of Asia weren't actually that much informed regarding what's happening there in the US when it comes to its economy. Like we only know your movies, we only know your music. But I think this is the first film that actually introduced to me that it even the US is having issues when it comes to these things. like the housing crash.
And
This was in
I guess
2015.
2016. Oh, yeah, 2016 here in the Philippines, but it's 2015
Yeah, I
there.
mean the event,
And
not the movie. So when it was actually documented in the movie, I was able to gain much more understanding of it.
it's about the 2008 financial crisis, right?
Dude, this is loaded with people.
Yeah, that's what made it
Steve
even more
Carell,
fun
Christian
because you
Bale, Ryan
a- as
Gosling, Brad
as
Pitt.
much as I
Holy
was actually
shit!
interested in the story, I was also pretty interested in the actors that they actually brought in because these are heavy hitters.
Marissa
Oh yeah.
Tomei. Wow. I
So yeah,
I
and
gotta watch
You
this.
everyone
you
in the
never
film
realize.
actually brought the tour de performance. So I can't ask for anything more
Oh shit,
regarding a film about this.
it's on Apple TV,
You
Amazon,
planning on
Paramount
now?
Plus.
You're planning on
Yeah,
watching it now? Okay.
it's on Amazon. It's
Tell
on
me what you
Disney.
think
Next
later.
door's on Disney.
So that's my number four. I don't think there's an
Both
Nice.
overlap.
yeah. No, no,
Yeah,
no
no.
overlap. And both Barbie co-stars are here. It's not just Ryan Gosling who's here. It's also Margot Robbie. Margot
Speaking
Robbie
of,
was also here.
speaking of Ryan Gosling, is also part. He started his career in one historical film or series, Young Hercules.
Did he?
Oh,
Yep.
Wow, Young Hercules. I remember the Hercules series. That was some good TV. Hercules, and then after Hercules, Xena would come on.
Yeah, they made a spin-off Young Hercules with Ryan Gosling. So that's
Oh
where
wow.
he got his break.
All right.
all right.
So my number four. This okay, so other than number five, these other four, it was very hard for me to order these. Um, but my number four, because it was so stylized,
Yeah.
is kind of what dropped it down. Um, and that's, but this is also the only movie that I've ever watched that when it ended, I was upset, not at what happened in the movie, but that it had to end because I wanted to watch this forever.
Yeah.
And that's 300.
Ooh.
Oh,
I
oh yeah.
love 300. 300 is one of those movies that as a young 20 something year old man, like in my place of residence, whether it be the
Yeah.
barracks or home, this movie played on my TV because there's always, you know what I'm saying, like even if you're not paying attention and then you just look, like it's cool.
Yeah, and it's one of those rare movies where the director actually fit the genre he's
Yeah,
in because it was Zack Snyder,
nailed it.
Oh, oh yeah.
right?
Yeah.
The
Yeah.
aesthetics, the direction, like it's all good.
The casting was perfect. Um, everything, just everything about it was incredible as far as I'm concerned.
Well, it may not be faithful to the historical film or the historical um, you know, uh what happened in
Mm,
history. It's badass.
it
I
is
mean,
badass.
Yeah, it's
Gerald Butler as Leonidas. Holy
Yeah.
shit.
I mean,
This
the
is
the the
it's
Sparta.
that's what I was
it's
just about to say.
basic.
The cultural impact this thing had. The
Yeah, it's
South
basically
Park, the South Park episode against with the
yeah,
Persians, where they did this camera cut.
it's basically gay porn that men weren't offended of.
Bro, it was so good. It was so good. It was
I
so
think there's
good.
no better way to describe it.
I remember seeing those guys, and I was like, did
You
all of these
can look
dudes get
like that.
into did all these guys get into incredible shape, or is this CGI?
The abs were
Well,
CGI, right? There was a,
I think a
there
lot
was a
of them.
rumor
I think a
about
lot
it.
because that shit was.
but
It's
the
too
historical
much.
Spartans were yeah. But the historical Spartans were really jacked up guys. I
Yeah, I mean that's
mean,
what they did. That was their job. It's just like the scene, right? It's like what's his name? Athenian, right? They're from Athena, maybe. Athenian, what is
Yeah.
your
Athens.
what is your
Yeah.
profession?
That is their
And he's like,
profession, yeah.
I'm a pot maker. And he's like, I'm a fisher, those type or whatever. And then he was like, Spartans, what is your
Oh,
profession? And then just yeah,
Ooh, ooh,
they
yeah,
ooh.
didn't even mention their profession. It was just oh, like
yeah.
are you
It
a bunch of
seems
dogs? Like
seems
what?
then he says like, yeah, it seems I've brought more soldiers than you. The quotables from this movie, dude. Gosh.
Yeah. And the way Gerald Butler um delivered some of the famous words that the real Leonidas uh
Mm.
basically said in the historical battle of Thermopylae and the lead up to it. He uh the way Gerald Butler delivered that, again, that's badass too. I mean,
Yeah,
when he said tonight we dine in hell, or at
yeah,
historically tonight we dine in Hades, but hell is much more badass. So that's
right.
tonight we
Yeah.
dine in hell.
Because now there's an actual country called Haiti, so that doesn't really have this that doesn't really have the same punch.
yeah. and
It's
then
like, oh, vacation, nice.
and then Molon Labe, come and take it. I think that was during the first encounter with the Persians.
Mm,
They want, if you want it, come and take it.
yeah.
And I don't know, yeah.
But yeah, the movie, yeah, it's fantastic. Like I said, I was when it went off, I was like, oh man, I wanted that to last forever.
Good choice.
Anyway, Chris, before we move on to my top four, how about 300 Rise of an Empire, the sequel
No,
with Themistocles and the
It
Athenians?
was
no. As far as I'm concerned, that doesn't exist. No,
it was
please, no.
the bar was literally set to a level that's just completely out of reach.
It shouldn't have been made. Like
I mean, the movie in itself wasn't bad, but the 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 parallel comparison to
what do you
the
mean it
original
wasn't
300
bad?
just
Like the entire movie of the 300 was about Leonidas, and you put someone else in it. Like it's
yeah, but
not
I'm
never gonna
saying
live up.
that's what yeah, it's absolutely not going to live up. But as a standalone movie, if 300 never happened and this movie was made, it would have been a great movie. But it's
Still feel it wouldn't.
The
unfortunately,
sequel. Yeah, the sequel.
unfortunately, unfortunately, I had some very big shoes to fill, nearly impossible.
I still feel it wouldn't actually hold up just because of the direction that they made in the screenplay. Like
Yeah,
whoever wrote that script is really trying hard
they
to
did.
actually emulate the first one.
Well, I mean, the original 300 was literally like catching lightning in a bottle, and you can't recreate that. You just can't.
Yeah, the problem with the sequel is actually they talk too much.
Too much talking.
Yeah, it's too
No
much
one,
talking,
no
not
one
enough
wanted that
fighting.
from an action movie.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but all right.
Anyway, all right. So my top four. This is a local cult classic. The 1997 film Jose Rizal. You know
Hmm.
that, Christian?
Yeah, it's been made into a school project here in the Philippines by everyone.
Anyway, um, the lead role there, it's starred by Cesar Montano, the guy who also uh played Captain Juan Pajota in The Great Raid.
Yeah. So
So
like that.
basically, this is about Rizal, his final days before he was executed and all that shit. The reason why it's in top four is because this is one of the first very good Filipino films that I have ever watched in my life. And okay, it's not really as good as the other films, that other local historical films uh that were produced in recent years, but
Yeah.
it was the gold standard. It was the gold standard when it was released. So let's just say that this was a direct competitor to to Titanic, I guess,
Yeah.
because it was released in '97 too.
Mm,
Yes.
Yeah.
Like
I have no idea.
that film became so mandatory here in the Philippines. Like it's the same thing as being circumcised as a Filipino. Like you have to
Mm.
watch it before growing up.
Yeah.
By the time you're 9 years old, at least,
Every school
or
actually
at the
made it
most.
into a paper. Like we had to watch it. We
Oh,
had
you have
no
to write a paper.
choice.
Yeah. But I guess my more recent rewatches of that film by Marilu Diaz Abaya, um it was on my own volition because there are a lot of good scenes there, and practically the yeah, yeah, practically um the film also interspersed some scenes from Rizal's two novels. Is
Mm.
and actually it's a whole continuing story, but it's two books. So that's that. And you know, um and there's also this hypothetical second novel where uh this uh gaslighter or gas lamp um exploded because it's filled with nitroglycerine uh when Rizal wrote the second novel. And what happened in the novel is that someone took the lamp and jumped out of the window because
Hmm.
the main character of Rizal's two novels, Juan Crisostomo Ibarra, in the second novel he's more known as Simon, um, planned to kill all the people who are in that wedding reception. If someone would increase the gas or increase the intensity of the light, it would explode and everyone would burn to death.
Jesus.
But it didn't happen. You have to read the book. There are English translations of the two novels.
Yeah, I
But
may do some digging on that one, but I got nothing to add to this
yeah,
conversation
I know.
except I guess my
Is
only
it?
link would be my daughter currently attends Jose Rizal University.
Jerry, yeah. Oh yeah. I yeah.
Yeah, the heavy
But that's
bombers. Figure that one out.
Yeah. So I
but
guess I
in real life Rizal is a heavy bomber with the ladies.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean,
yeah.
he had local women. He also had trysts, or he had dates with foreigners, a Japanese woman. Um he also he also had a duel with one of the characters in my other local film that's my on my top 5 list. I'm not gonna spoil it, but he had a duel with that guy for a French girl, I think.
Well,
And he ended up marrying um an Irish American woman named Josephine Bracken hours before he got
oh
shot.
wow.
So yeah, that's how hardcore Rizal is to the ladies.
Well, all right. Let's go. I think
Anyway,
it's Christian. Yeah. Yeah.
top
We're in
three.
the
Top.
top three.
I mentioned my top three, right? Yeah, it was Apollo 14.
Mm,
So it would be your top
okay.
three.
13. Apollo 13.
Apollo 13. Sorry. I was thinking of Android 14. I don't know why.
Yeah. Well, mine is another movie that again it's stylized. Well, not really stylized. It's embellished maybe. But this I think everyone knows and most people love this movie, but it's It's Ridley Scott's Gladiator.
Hmm.
Oh yeah. Are you not entertained?
Yeah, yeah. Not to mention Joaquin Phoenix playing an incredible villain.
He's
He
always
still
been like
is.
that.
Yeah, one of the
I don't even think he's method acting there. I think that's just him.
yeah, I'm not sure. Yeah, but I remember
Yeah.
the opening battle of that movie. It really sucks you in immediately. It's like, oh, this is going to be
Oh
fantastic,
yeah.
and it does not disappoint.
Yeah, it really doesn't.
Yeah.
It does not disappoint. But yeah, I
Again,
don't have much to say about it. I think it's recent enough that most people are like, oh yeah, that, or you know, not necessarily recent enough, but it's still it is what it is, and it's still very fresh in a lot of people's minds.
I mean,
So there's not really much to expound on other than
yeah, and it's
it's
Russell
Russell
great
Crowe's
fucking
Crowe
movie.
and Joaquin
iconic
Phoenix in
role, right?
one
Made
film.
him a household
Holy
name.
shit. Yeah.
Yeah, Ian, what's your third?
Yeah, that's and for my top 3, uh this is the only Mel Gibson film that I think is in this list. We were soldiers.
Okay, it's not the
Okay.
only
Yeah.
Mel Gibson one, but it is a good one.
Yeah, but it's the only Mel Gibson that film that is
Oh, in your list. Okay, okay, okay. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
in my list. That's what
Okay,
I
yeah.
wanted to say because I really wanted to have also the Passion of the Christ, but I'm not sure if that's gonna count as a Mel Gibson movie because he directed it, but he's
But his
not starring
but
that there. That's
his fingerprints are all over it. Like it's Mel Gibson through and through, even though he's not. Yeah.
Not yet a pariah.
yeah, but um, basically this is the story of yeah. But We Were Soldiers is basically the story of a Vietnam War war hero named Harold Moore. He was a major or a colonel
Yeah.
when he was sent to Vietnam along with his outfit, and basically it it's all about blood, guts, napalm, and gunpowder, and it's very much hardcore when it comes to the action scenes and the fighting scenes and all of the gunshots and all that shit. It's packed to the or filled to the brim with action. There are some um mellow scenes regarding that, but
Yeah.
I understand that it's part of the transition and all that shit. And it was very faithful to the conditions that the
Mm.
Americans faced during the Vietnam War. But I don't know about you, Chris. Being a war veteran yourself, what say you about it?
Um well yeah, it's absolutely fantastic movie. And this is another one that is just packed to the gills with big stars.
Yeah.
Right. I mean it's fucking it's got everybody in it.
One reason why I
Um
watched it was because of Sam Elliott,
love Sam Elliott. Love Sam
right?
Elliott. Yeah. But yeah, I mean I mean we could have done honestly, this would be in my top five had we done top five war movies.
Maybe we can have
Yeah.
a dedicated top 5
Yeah.
next time.
Because this is up there. This is up there with Private Ryan, all
Oh yeah.
those. It's up there.
Oh yeah.
It's up there for sure. But yeah, Mel Gibson, man, Mel Gibson has
He had a good
managed
run
to,
back in the 2000s, right? Before everything went to shit.
yeah,
I remember watching this. Was this coming off
yeah,
the heels of the
yeah.
Passion of Christ? Like he had a good run before regarding the
Yeah,
lethal.
probably right around there.
Yeah, he had a good run before regarding the Lethal Weapon series. Aside from that, this is one
Yeah,
of the rare
Lethal Weapon.
cases where I've seen him
I
in
mean,
action.
he had a
Yep.
bunch. I love Mad Max, even the originals.
Yeah, because
The
but back
Patriot, fucking great.
but back in the 90s, he just went and did a lot of romantic comedies.
Yeah,
So
What Women Want,
yeah,
great.
remember that.
Yeah, I love some Mel Gibson.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love some Mel Gibson. I don't give a damn if he crazy or not. I like Mel Gibson.
Oh, yeah.
Uh,
Sometimes you need crazy
but
in
yeah,
Hollywood.
yeah, sometimes you have to be, right?
All right, so we are now down to our top two.
Yep.
Christian, go ahead.
Yeah, for my second film choice, I think it's a toss-up for me. If I had to go number two, so to speak, it would be Social Network.
Bro, I didn't
I think
even
there's
think
a
about that,
clear
man.
argument that could be a clear case
Yeah.
of being a historical piece right now because we're actually living it.
Oh
That's
yeah. I
So
mean, yeah. Meta is
had it
Meta has
not
been
been,
very much, yeah, has
I
been very
mean,
much on the news recently. So yeah.
it's safe to say that that movie highlights something that's had more of an impact than probably anything we've mentioned yet.
yeah,
Yeah.
and it's not even that deep if you think about it. Like it's basically it's a historical piece now. It's one of the rare cases that you're actually living what you're watching. So David Fincher actually really did a good job. I can't recall if that actually won any awards. If it hasn't, it should.
Yeah, I don't know.
And the performance is there by it's
Eisenberg.
really good. Yeah. I would much
Yeah.
prefer Jesse
It
Eisenberg as a Mark Zuckerberg rather than the real Mark Zuckerberg, if you know what I mean. So
yeah. But I guess it won some awards. Not
yeah,
sure if these are awards really or just nominations, but even though this is just nominated, I mean, nomination is nomination. So yeah.
yeah, just the direction alone, David Fincher and the screenplay being done by Aaron Sorkin, like it's something to watch. Like if you're a film fan, you know this is a perfect combination,
Yeah, very true.
particularly especially for the cinematography, right?
Right.
So yeah, that's my number two when it comes to my list.
Nice. Well, mine, I would have to say is maybe more significant than the one you just mentioned for a couple of reasons. Um, well, the movie is Schindler's List.
Oh, Schindler's List.
Ooh,
Oh, of course, of
Yeah,
course.
yeah. I watched this
yeah,
in
that was that
a
was a
little more
toss up for
pivotal.
me to put. That was a toss
Yeah.
up for me to put in my number five,
Yeah. I watched this in high school,
but it's good.
So do I.
or no, elementary
So do
school
I.
actually. I watched this in elementary. Well, no, maybe it was high school
Yeah,
I
elementary.
watched it in high school, and yeah, Steven Spielberg W. That's for sure.
for sure. There's two very memorable parts for me. Um, One is the little girl with the red jacket,
Oh yeah.
right? Because the movie's in black and white, and you have that one little girl with
Oh,
the red jacket. Yeah. And the end when he was having basically a mental breakdown because he felt he wasn't able to save enough Jews, right? He like this was a life or whatever. I don't remember it exactly. I haven't seen it in
We're
30
talking
years.
about Oscar Schindler. We're talking
Yeah,
about Oscar Schindler here, right? Right?
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
yeah.
yeah. It's he saved over 1,000 people, which is by any standard in any time in history, absolutely incredible.
Yeah,
I mean,
considering all the hardships back then to actually do that, and he was a German Nazi, right?
Yeah, well, yeah, he was German. Yeah, he was. I guess obviously you can't call him a Nazi if he was saving Jewish lives, but he was definitely German.
He was a Nazi.
Was he a Nazi? Was he part of the
Yeah,
Nazi
he
Party?
was. Yeah, he was part of the Nazi party. Like that was his in, right? To be able to do the things he do, is he was actually bribing people
Yeah.
within his party to actually let things slide.
Well, let's say he was um in the Nazi Party. Uh, it says initially motivated by profit, he took over an
Yeah.
enamelware factory in Poland where he enjoyed Jewish worker, or he employed, not enjoyed, Jewish workers because they were cheap labor. However, as he hold on, this yeah. However, as Schindler witnessed the atrocities of the
Slip of the
Holocaust,
tongue.
he had a change of
Yeah.
heart.
also, and you know, Oscar Schindler is not the only person who saved Jews during the Holocaust.
Oh, of
There's
course,
Pope
yeah.
Pius the XII. There's Pope Pius the XII, and there's also Manuel Quezon.
Okay.
Manuel Quezon, of all people,
Was that in the movie?
he only got
Was
I don't think so.
was that
that's
in the
in
movie?
Quezon's it's not in the movie, but there's another movie called Quezon's Game where it basically it I'm
Thought I
just being
missed
I'm
that.
just going on
No,
tangent,
there
but
was I,
basically um
No,
Quezon
no
was
worries.
actually the first
I
guy.
just thought I missed that.
no, I think there was one scene where Schindler was walking down the road, and someone from the other side of the road was like, "The party," and he was like, "Hey, what's up, man?" And that was like, I think that was Manuel Case on the other side of the street. They
Was
just,
there?
no, I don't know. No, I'm bullshitting.
Was there? Was there?
Yeah.
Like you guys are making me want to rewatch it, or whether I missed something.
Yeah. Yeah, can you imagine? Can you imagine Oscar Schindler giving the piece like, "What's up, man?
Makes
Not
me
much,
want to
not much
check out
party
which
saving
TV
these,
actually first used
saving
Tagalog
these."
in the US.
Yeah.
But historically speaking, Oscar Schindler is not just the only person who
Mm.
was credited in saving Jews during the Holocaust. There's also Pope Pius the XII and Manuel Quezon. Actually, Manuel Quezon was the very first head of state in the world to have this intention of um, uh, accommodating Jewish refugees so that they can escape the Holocaust. So
So did the Jewish
if
refugees make it to the Philippines?
40 of them, yes.
40. Okay. Why is there no
Yeah.
like no Liechtensteins here in the Philippines? Like, what's your name? Bong Bong Liechtenstein.
I don't know, but after the
I think they changed their name
liberation of the
once they
Philippines,
came here.
Maybe.
I don't know, but maybe after the Americans left, actually
What country was it?
And the Japanese.
the
The
Japanese
Japanese. I'm
halted.
sorry. The
Yeah,
Japanese actually came. They invaded
yeah,
the
the Japanese
Philippines, and
actually
actually the
came
Jews
and
actually had to flee again.
yeah, or some of them were not able to flee. Some of them were uh in internment camps, either in UST or in UP Los Baños, or yeah. Either way, uh, these Jewish refugees eventually left the Philippines for greener pastures. Maybe most of them settled in the United States after the Second World War. So that's that.
All right.
But anyway, we now go on a tangent, and both of you already had your top twos, right?
Yep. It's on you.
Yeah,
Okay,
we're waiting on you.
now it's on me, and um going through this top two, I have to say we didn't plan to talk about having similar movies with similar messages, but the top two that I have in my list is General Luna, which is about the the Filipino general Antonio Luna, played by John Arcilla, And you know, it was a big break for that guy because I understand John Arcilla was a theater guy. He had some minor roles back in the 80s and 90s, but this is his first major role in the 21st century and he nailed it. So that's that. But other than the other than um other than his acting, there's also a very uh good roster in that film. Epi Quizon as Apolinario Mabini. My goodness. that guy
Yeah, he was.
that guy also nailed it. And Mon
I
Confiado
haven't
as Emilio Aguinaldo. Man, that was yeah. I mean,
I haven't
I
watched that one. I just saw snippets of
but I did watch it. And aside from the historicity and all that, Gerald Tarog, the director of this film, and its sequel, Goyo ang Batang General or Goyo the Boy General, starring Paulo Avellino as Gregorio del Pilar, was also in the first movie. Uh, by the way, this film is about the Philippine American War. Oh, okay. For all of our audiences who are not who have not who does not know this who do not know this film.
Yeah,
So
I'm one of
it's
them.
about so it's about the Philippine American War.
it. Yeah,
It's
I
about the
know the
Philippine
film but
American
haven't
War.
watched it. Full
Yeah.
disclosure, I'm Filipino but haven't watched it. Like for me, when it comes to films like these, I've already read these.
yeah.
So
But
I'm just saving myself the grief of actually having to criticize it. There are inaccuracies on screen.
yeah, there really are.
That happens though, I
It's
think, most
um
times.
yeah,
Okay? Yeah.
that happens.
Yeah.
That really happens. But
But I check out
uh
their performances within snippets, so I can appreciate what they've done. That's why I said Epic Kison was perfectly cast for Apolinario Mabini. He's a good
oh
actor,
yeah.
one of the
Oh yeah.
best here in the Philippines. His father would be proud.
Oh yeah. Dolphy would absolutely be proud. That's for sure. And
Yeah.
uh other than the casting and the cinematography and all that shit, there's also a message, and that's also a good thing that our top two, all of our top two choices have some kind of messages. And
Yeah.
there is this quote that uh John Arcilla delivered as Antonio Luna.
Yeah. The
Brothers,
message.
there let me say it in Tagalog and then I'll translate it in English if
You
that's okay.
you say it in Tagalog, I'll try to translate it. Let's see,
Good
let's
call.
see.
Okay.
Let's see how it
All
Fun.
goes.
right. So
You're gonna mess this up.
Luna said in the film, mga kapatid, mayroon tayong mayroon tayong kaaway na mas masahol pa sa mga Amerikano, no, ang ating sarili. I'm not sure if that's the exact quote, but it's um it's something like that.
One more time. I think I got it. There's one part I need to get.
Mga kapatid, may may mas masahol pa tayong kalaban kaysa sa mga Amerikano, ang ating sarili.
My brothers or my family kind of, or
Yeah.
my siblings, I guess.
Brothers.
Yeah.
Brothers, yeah.
My brothers, we have
An
we
enemy
we have an enemy that is, I
worse
don't know
than the
this word.
Americans.
Worse,
Worse
just
than
worse.
worse than the Americans.
And that's ourselves.
Ourselves.
Yeah.
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 Yeah, you nailed it. You nailed
Yeah.
it.
I didn't know the word for the word that
Masahol.
worse. Yeah.
Yeah, but I think he didn't
That's
told masahol, but I haven't remembered the exact quote, but it's
Okay, yeah.
like that. That
Okay,
the
kapatid.
delivery
yeah,
is
that's
like that.
really Masahol is really old Tagalog. Usually people just say mas masama.
Mm,
Yeah, yeah. But the fact that Gerald Tarog and his script writers put that quote or that line in, it just resonates with me as a Filipino who wants to have a different perspective about things. And that's the reason why it's in top two. So
yeah. It's
yeah,
good.
that's my take on that.
That's
And
good.
yeah. And before we go to our top one, quick fire honorable mentions. Any honorable mentions you have, guys?
Black Hawk
Uh,
Down.
oh, okay. Yeah. Um,
How about you, Chris?
historical. I don't know. I put most of my thought into the top five list. Ben-Hur. I watched that in high school.
Yeah, the
Yeah, that's a
1960s
good one.
Ben-Hur.
Yeah.
1960s Ben-Hur. Oh yeah.
Yeah,
Oh
yeah,
yeah.
yeah, yeah,
Oh yeah.
yeah. That one's up there for sure. Gone with the Wind. Um, uh,
Gone with
yeah,
the Wind is period piece, right?
it's a period. Yeah, I guess so. Yeah, but I mean, it still kind of was around that whole time, that
Yeah.
whole like Revolutionary War time or whatever it was. Civil War. I don't remember which one it was.
I think it's a Civil
Honorable
War.
mention for me. I mentioned Black Hawk Down, right?
Hmm.
Yeah.
Argo was one.
Oh, I love that movie.
Yeah. That's good.
I love
And another one would be Dunkirk.
it. Ooh.
Yeah, I have to
Oh God.
watch
If
that too.
if we
Dunkirk.
go into Dunkirk is good. If we go into All Quiet on the Western Front, fucking fantastic.
Yeah.
Uh,
What version? Because there's a modern version. I watched the modern version, but
the
there's
modern one,
an earlier one. Oh yeah, I
the
watched that.
latest one. Yeah, yeah, it's really good.
Watched that.
Uh,
Yeah.
Enemy at the Gate,
Yeah, I watched that too.
so
Yeah,
so
yeah.
good, so good. But yeah,
That's
As
another
for
honorable
yeah,
mention for
as
me.
for me, honorable mentions. Sound of Freedom. This is the story of Tim Ballard with Jim Caviezel, as the main character. 47 Ronin with
okay.
Keanu Reeves. Yeah, it's actually a historical fiction thing, but it's based on the 47 Ronin who avenged their 47 masterless samurai. That's what Ronin are. Who avenged their lord for some kind of dishonorable shit. So that's 47 Ronin. And then I mentioned Goyo ang Batang General. Basically this is the sequel to General Luna. It's an
Hmm.
honorable mention too. And lastly, Bohemian Rhapsody.
Okay.
Mm.
The story of Freddie Mercury and of Queen. Yeah.
Okay. Oh God. Well, if we're going to go that route, then I have to say the Doors movie with Jim Morrison. Not Jim
Mm.
Morrison. The Doors movie with Oh my God, this opened so many doors in my brain. Um, the Doors movie with what's his face? Um, who played Jim Morrison? Val Kilmer.
Val
And then
Kilmer.
Oh, he
also
did.
yeah, nailed it. Nailed it. Uh, have you ever drank blood? If not, I know a girl in New York. Crazy. This movie's great. Uh,
Uh,
Tombstone, probably in my top three all-time movies. If you haven't watched Tombstone with God, why is my brain not working? Also Val Kilmer, uh, Sam Elliott, um,
Yeah.
Kurt Russell,
these are the Kurt Russell
Bill
and
Paxton,
Michael Bain. Michael Bean. I'm
Michael
not
Bean.
sure
Yeah,
the last
yeah.
name.
Oh, he played Johnny Ringo. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Uh,
This is about
Wyatt Earp.
it's a western film, not a spaghetti western, but a
Oh no.
outright American western, right?
Yeah, it's about Wyatt Earp and his brothers. There's actually a new documentary on Netflix right now about Wyatt Earp, and this is historical. This is all true.
Mm.
The shootout at the OK Corral is one of the most famous uh shootouts in
Shootouts.
yeah. But
Yeah, I
yeah,
just watched it. The only thing that I watched about that thing is in extra history, the YouTube channel. Yeah, they
yeah,
tackled that too. The
yeah,
shootout at OK Corral.
yeah. And
Yeah.
these were all real people. Wyatt Earp and his brother, Doc Holliday, all real people.
Mm. Yeah.
God, I wish I would have thought of this a minute ago. That's in my top three all-time favorite movies for real. I can't believe
Yeah,
I didn't. I can't believe I didn't think of it.
yeah. My honorable mentions. I guess I have five, just to be safe, just to be fair. I think for honorable mention, one of them would be Gandhi.
I haven't seen it.
Oh,
I
yeah,
haven't seen
I haven't
Gandhi.
seen it. Snippets, yeah, but not the full movie.
Another one is Apocalypse Now.
Okay.
Oh yeah, I watched that.
Yeah.
Good Morning Vietnam.
Oof. Oh, these are
Uh,
so good.
right, Robin Williams. The Hurt Locker.
Love this movie. I
Uh,
love The Hurt Locker.
and The Pianist.
I never seen the whole thing.
Pianist.
The Pianist, yeah.
And
Adrian
my
Brody.
number one,
Yeah,
my
Okay,
let's
number
go.
let's go
one.
with the number one. Christian, take it away.
I don't think we're gonna have an overlap with this one. My number one would be The Dark Knight. No, I'm kidding. It's it's Hacksaw Ridge.
Also in my
my
top three.
number one, my number one is Hacksaw Ridge. So
Hacksaw Ridge. That's another war movie, right?
Desmond Doss
yeah.
story. Yeah.
Hacksaw Ridge. Fuck, these are
So
such good picks, man. Oh, it's fucking Spider-Man.
yeah, it's Andrew Garfield, and one of the rare instances where Vince Vaughn was actually taken seriously. So I appreciate what they did because I wasn't actually aware that this actually happened in history, where someone who can actually fire a gun or even
Doesn't
hold a
want.
gun was
Who
actually
doesn't want to hold a gun? Yeah.
doesn't want to hold a gun was actually put into the military.
Yeah.
It gives a new perspective on actually how you can serve your country. Like
It
for
does.
us, when it comes to the it's just guns and testosterone. Like he's built different. Like I understand it's a religious thing, but it didn't actually matter that much
Yeah.
considering what his intent was, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And directed by Mel Gibson.
Mel Gibson. At the same time, it's inspirational. At the same time, really good movie and a comeback from Mel
Wow.
Gibson,
Yeah.
Mel Gibson as director. Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah.
right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
for sure. I'm gonna have to check this out though. I have to watch it again. I don't think I paid attention the first time because
I have to
I
watch
never
that too. I
I
haven't
never
watched it yet, but I would
it
love
never
to.
Oh,
Yes.
I'm gonna add one more to my honorable mention, and this just came out of my head. American Made.
okay. Oh yeah, I like him. Is that Tom
Because
Cruise?
if you hear that
Yeah,
story,
that's
you
Tom
would think
Cruise.
that's a
Yeah.
work of fiction.
It's not. It's real. And that shit's crazy.
Yeah, that shit was crazy. My brother watched it. I have to watch it myself.
Okay, so that's my number one, Hacksaw Ridge.
How about you,
So
Chris?
just to recap mine for top five. What was it? My fifth one.
uh
Titanic. Your top
Titanic.
five is
Titanic. Sorry.
Titanic.
Yeah.
I was actually removing it from my memory intentionally. Titanic, Apollo 13. Uh, was it Apollo 13?
I think
Your
Apollo 13 was your
that's
third.
that's top three. Top three.
Top three, yeah, Apollo 13. Titanic, and what was my fourth?
What was your fourth?
Well, people will just have to watch it.
God,
They would
Yeah.
just have to
Drop it in the
rewind
we'll
it
just
on
have to
YouTube.
watch it. Okay.
yeah.
My
Yeah.
second one was actually Social Network. Then my first one
Yeah.
is Hacksaw. We mentioned a lot of movies. I kind of
We
missed
did, yeah.
that one.
I listed
Yeah.
mine though. I don't, yeah. But yeah, all right.
Go ahead,
So
Chris, with the number one.
You listed yours?
yeah, I listed. Yeah, I would never remember this. I spent time thinking about this earlier today. And or no, between the thing, like I had to really like rapid fire these things. I had to write it down or it would have never happened. I have one more honorable mention, and I don't even know that this I guess it is. It's the movie about Chuck Barris. Do y'all know who Chuck Barris is?
I'm not sure.
Chuck Barris,
Chuck.
Barris. Because when you
Chuck
said,
Barris?
yeah, when you said that American Made sounds like it's made up, this sounds like it's made up, and it's not.
Was it the game show host?
Yeah, slash government operative.
Really?
Yeah. So he was the creator and host of the Gong Show, which was very popular in like the 60s,
Yeah,
I
I know the
think.
Gong Show.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Uh, and now this is all just him, but he claims he was also a hitman for the CIA.
Yeah.
So the trick here, the reason they wanted a game show host was, let's say, for example, they need someone killed in Berlin, right? Then the winners of the game show, oh, you win a 3-day, 2-night trip to Berlin. And then him as the host goes with them.
And that's basically his side quest.
And that's his side. That's the only reason they gave away this trip to Moscow or
Moscow,
somewhere.
Berlin.
It's like, so the winners of the show would go have fun. Chuck Barris would go kill somebody for the government. It's crazy.
Mm.
If Elvis
What's the title of the movie? What's the
Confessions of
title of
a
the movie?
Confessions of a Dangerous Mind.
Oh, when was it?
2002.
Oh yeah.
Mm.
Yeah, directed
Starring
by
I
George
had to check it out. See, we're
starring
learning new movies.
Sam Rockwell as Chuck Barris.
Sam Rockwell. Kills it in this movie.
Oh shit.
Directed by George Clooney.
He also acted
Wow.
as one of the characters there.
Oh, I'm sure. Yeah, he's going to stick himself in there for sure. But my number one, and I highly recommend watching Confessions of a Dangerous Mind. Fantastic movie. My number one, and it seems that we have kind of developed a theme outside of historical movies. My number one, directed by and starring our favorite for the day, Mel Gibson, is Braveheart.
Braveheart. Oh yeah.
Braveheart is quite possibly my favorite movie in the whole world.
Yeah, the way Mel Gibson as William Wallace shouted freedom.
The whole story, man. The way he gets her pregnant, the princess gets pregnant, she tells the dying king on his deathbed. The whole thing is just art, to say the least. It's a perfectly done movie. There's comedy, there's drama, there's love, there's violence. It's the complete. It's epic at some points. You got huge shots of war.
Yeah.
It to me, in my opinion, it is a complete movie.
Like if it was actually shown today, I figured it would still be a hit because we're missing a lot of these type of
Absolutely.
genres. Like everything is about the MCU and the DCU.
And
I mean,
perhaps it brought Scotland
mm,
on the map.
for sure. It told their story. I wasn't aware of a lot of this stuff when I first watched this movie. Obviously, I was
Yeah,
what,
and
14.
I just remembered my number for it was The Big Short.
Oh
Yeah,
yeah,
The Big
Big
Short.
Short.
Yeah,
So
Yeah.
yeah, I rounded out my list.
yeah. But yeah,
So
I feel
your
like
top five was?
my top
Recap
five:
of your top five. Yeah.
The King's Speech, uh, 300, Gladiator, Schindler's List, and Braveheart.
Hmm.
I
Yeah,
wish
that's
I
a
wish
good
I would have
roster.
I wish I would have thought of Tombstone earlier, because that would have been number two, and I would have probably bumped The King's Speech out.
You know,
There's a lot
the
of them.
the roster that you have, Chris. That's fine with that's good enough for
That's a
me. That's for
that's a
sure.
that's actually a pretty good list
It's a good list.
if you don't want
It's
to
a
do
good
anything.
binge.
Yeah, it's a good binge for
It's a
sure.
good binge
Good
watch.
binge. Oh yeah. Oh, yeah. Finally, for my top historical movie, and this is a legendary cult classic when it comes to historical films. Waterloo.
Okay. Yeah, good. Yeah, absolutely. It is top tier for sure.
Top fucking tier because the all of the soldiers in that movie were real soldiers. Well, let's just say um some extra Soviet troops who
Mm.
don't have a because the I think the director is Russian, I'm not sure, but uh geopolitics aside, I really like the fact that there's no CGI on that thing.
Mm.
There's no
Right.
CGI on that thing. All of the soldiers in in that film are real people.
Okay. So
That
you're talking about
makes
the
it
one from the 70s, right? This is
Yeah, he
yes.
he pulled really deep from the well for this one.
Yeah. I
Like,
really I was really fascinated by that film because you can't pull that up these days. You can't pull that up these days unless you have a very big budget and you can cast a lot of people. But yeah, because of CGI, you can you can have that cheap trick of multiplying some people and all that.
right.
Even the even the film of
I think it's a spur.
Napoleon by where Joaquin Phoenix starred as Napoleon Bonaparte.
Mm.
For sure that for sure Ridley Scott had to resort to CGI
Oh, yeah.
for some of the battle scenes there, but not Waterloo. Goodness gracious me, that was an epic film because they not only used real people, but at least on the British side, they also employed reenactors. Especially
Mm.
I'm not sure. I guess the Scottish contingent in that film, those were real reenactors. They know their stuff. They absolutely know their stuff.
Right. Yeah, yeah,
So
yeah.
I think it's the
They're
same thing with the Lord of the Rings. Like they actually use real people, never actually CGI the armies.
yeah,
Even the
and
orcs, I think, are wearing prosthesis or prosthetics.
the actor that that played Napoleon in Waterloo was also top tier. I have to mention that. And um that guy should have been credited for all of that too. But anyway, to recap my top 5 because we're running out of time. Apollo 13, Jose Rizal, We Were Soldiers, General Luna, and Waterloo. So those are my top 5 in ascending order. So 5 to 1, that's for sure. So I guess
Yeah,
that's it for our episode today of the PSM podcast, and I would like to thank you all for listening.
yeah,
And
yeah. Hopefully, our audience can actually post their top fives on the comment section if ever
oh
you
yeah,
want to give us suggestions. We
yeah,
are
we would love to.
completely interested into hearing your opinions regarding this.
Yeah, we would really love to know your top 5 historical films of uh
Yeah,
out there, and do recommend us with which of the movies, which of other movies we would need to watch so that we can watch it in our spare times and all that. Anyway,
and if you
thank
guys
you.
actually disagree with our top five, come at us at the comment section. We actually welcome it, and let's
Oh yeah.
you'll get an answer in the next episode for sure.
Yeah. Anyway, any last words from you guys? All right. So
Yeah,
with
this
that
has been
said,
fun. Like, let's do
yeah,
this again.
yeah, we would have to do this at least once a week.
Yeah.
So yeah. Anyway, I would like to thank you all for tuning in to the PSM podcast. I'm Ian Riñon, and with me is Christian Tejares and Chris Short. And from where we are in our places of residence, this has been the PSM podcast, and we would see you in the next episode. Bye, everyone.